Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin GOLDAR. He's not a Mighty Morphin, he is part of the Mighty Morphin series, or he is from the Sentai, but it's not the same version, and people are complaining about that, and I don't understand it, because this is clearly a Mighty Morphin. Really, I mean, they're not doing Sentai, so I don't get it. This is Mighty Morphin version, so it's not exactly the same as the Japanese version. From the show, there is no Japanese version of the figure, so I don't understand that confusion, but just to be clear, this is all American. That's what it is. So if you don't want that, it's not what that is, so don't complain about it. But this guy does impress in a lot of ways. First impression is 100% impressed, if that makes any sense. And then second and third impressions are somewhat tepid at best. So yeah, there's some stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 6 3/4 inches to the top of his crown hat thingy, which makes him just about 17 centimeters. And if you're wondering how tall he is up against one of the Power Rangers, then here you go. That's the size comparison right there. And I say Power Rangers because this guy looks like he's made out of poo. We'll get to that review on a different day. But this one is the one we're talking about. And there have been a lot of complaints that he is not gold enough, that they molded the plastic and they should have painted the plastic and he could be so much better. Yeah, he could be so much better. Is that a reasonable thing to expect, to have the figure 100% painted gold and have this kind of sculpt work? I don't think so. I think this thing is sculpted phenomenally. Phenomenally. That's a fun word to say. Say it with me. Phenomenally. It's wonderful. Look at that. It is just chock full of detail. And if you'll notice, there is a fair bit of gold paint on there to differentiate the two. So all of the darker spots are painted. All of the lighter spots are molded. Would it be better? Again, to be clear, absolutely. I wish this guy was painted up like all of this color and then another color for the differentiation. But I think this is perfectly acceptable for a $20 price point, 22, whatever it is, depending on where you get it. I guess it's always GameStop, right? Whatever, 22 bucks, I guess. That seems more than reasonably well done. I have no issue with it. It could be better, but that's not reasonable. The green paint on there, though sparse, is well done. The face paint, though sparse, is well done. And can we just take a minute here to appreciate the sculpt? They freaking nailed it. That is gnarly. That is so good. The teeth are painted cleanly. The eyes are painted cleanly. This thing is fabulous in so many ways. Yes, it could be a darker face tone. I'd have to go back and check to be sure. I'm pretty sure he was more of a plum, like a darker plum color. But I don't know. Or more of an indigo, I guess, maybe. I'd have to check. But either way, it looks pretty good. And yeah, it's not perfect, but I think it's well within the reason of a Hasbro release. And the thing that bothers me is I'm pretty sure the people that are complaining about these issues are the same people that let it slide day after day for like Marvel Legends releases, and I don't get it. I don't get it. How about some consistency? This thing is far and away better than anything Hasbro releases on a regular basis. I don't get it. The wings, by the way, are dry brushed. I don't think it's on the back. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's on the back. Though here's the thing about the dry brush on the front of the wings. It's very subtle, which is nice, but I wouldn't have minded a little bit more just to make it pop, but even still, very, very nicely done. I love that. It's a really good sculpt, and again, dry brush to make it pop just a little bit. It looks like it's just the light bouncing off, but there is some gray paint on there, so that's nice. So yeah, I think aesthetics on this guy are phenomenal. I'm gonna keep using that now. It's just wonderful. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. For $22 figure with all original sculpt, can't beat that. I'm gonna give this guy a 9 out of 10. Could be better. Doesn't need to be in any way. As far as accessories go, we have 2 gripping hands, 1 fist hand, and 1 style pose hand, which is probably enough. It's worth noting that the sword holding hands, or the gripping hands, have horizontal hinges rather than vertical. That's stupid. We do have his sword, which I don't remember it being silver, but maybe it's supposed to be silver. I could be totally wrong on that. You guys can let me know in the comment section below, or I will have checked and already commented on the video. But either way, it's got the red part painted and it looks good enough. We do also have a purple lightning effect, which goes over the sword and is very nicely done. So that's okay. You could also count the wings as accessories. If memory serves, there were instances where he didn't have wings at all. I believe. So you could pull them off if you wanted to. It's been a long time since I've watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so correct me if I'm wrong, for sure. But they do come off, so you could count them as accessories because you have to put them on yourself. We'll get to the articulation in a minute. So accessory-wise, I'll give it an 8. That's pretty good. 4 hands, a weapon, energy effect. Sure, I'll take that. Okay, now it's time for the articulation, and this is where the figure does falter some. Not a lot, but some. So for the head, I can't show you. It doesn't want to come off. I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm not sure. It feels like it's your regular hinge and ball peg combination from Hasbro. The hair is actually a separate piece that's underneath the head, so maybe it's made to not come off so that you don't see it, but it does rotate some. These guys flex enough to where it's not a problem. And then looking up and down, it's pretty minimal. You can get it down a little bit, but that's about it. So I can't say for sure what's going on there, but it's enough. The shoulder pads are all part of the chest sculpt here, so they're going to definitely impede articulation some. You can still raise the arms up pretty far. Not a whole lot, but enough. You can rotate them far enough again. These do encumber. There is a butterfly joint, which is almost worthless. It's in there, and it works. But because of this, it's not like it's really going to help you a whole lot, but it's still cool that it's in there. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow. If you go that way, you get about 90 degrees. If you bend the top joint first, you can't do it on that side. Let's try it on this side. If you bend the top joint first, Hasbro, you're not helping me here. There we go. If you bend the top joint first, you get a little bit better than 90, but still just barely because of the way the armor is sculpted. So pretty limited there. No rotation at the gauntlet, but at the wrists, of course, you do have your rotation from the peg and your hinge. For the torso, we have a ball peg, which has really good range, but it is relatively floppy. Not terribly so, but it could definitely be tighter. But that is a really nice diaphragm joint. Very well executed. All the range you want. You do have a reverse ab crunch down here, which does give you pretty good range, though you probably don't need it on top of that diaphragm joint, but you do get it. And this guy are both soft, so you can tuck them in and over however you please to make the articulation work, but he leans over really nicely. Very nice torso articulation, though it could be a little tighter for the ball peg. This piece is floaty, so it does flex a little bit, but not a ton because it is held in place. Now for the hips, they're Marvel Legends style hips, so we have a ball peg in there. They don't go out to the side past 45 degrees, so it's fairly limited, but probably not too bad for GOLDAR. They're floppy as all heck, though. Flop City, that is not good. He is very flaccid. They don't go back at all. They do go all the way forward, and they're not floppy enough that they won't stay in place. Forward and back is much better than side to side, but they are still not very tight. But as you can see, the skirt armor does flex around the legs, so that's pretty good. Thigh swivel is in there. Double jointed knee works a little bit better than 90. It's not impressive, but it's there. And then for the ankles, we have a true ball hinge ankle. They go all the way back. They don't go forward really at all. That blows. This should have been just exaggerated a little bit to afford some more range. At your own risk, you could probably trim that a little bit with a Dremel, but again, be super careful. It's very thin plastic, but that is very limited. You do get a swivel, of course, on either end of the ball, but due to that armor, it's somewhat restrictive, but you still get decent range. So ball hinge is always nice for the ankles, so that's good, except for the limitation going forward. Now, the wings. I've heard some people say theirs are not. Mine are considerably floppy. Where they peg in, it's not a stiff joint at all. It's just a regular peg right there with a hinge on it. It's not good. There's supposed to be a ratchet in there, but the plastic's actually just flexing as I'm doing this. It's not ratcheting at all. It's just that floppy. Same thing for the hinge up here. I'll show you on this side. There's a hinge underneath this green part right here. And yeah, you can fold them up and they'll stay in place, but you have to really kind of force it to accept the ratchet. And then it'll stay, but it's still just real gummy and floppy, and they don't want to stay in place overall. Over time, they tend to sag just like this. I'm barely touching it. I'm not helping it very much at all. It just wants to fall down. So they're very floppy. And you do get rotation out of them if you wanted to. I don't know why you would. That's stupid looking, but you do get that. So these are very gummy. Honestly, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to just glue them. You know, he keeps them, I'm pretty sure he keeps them pretty much like this all the time when he has his wings. And so you could just glue them and not worry about it, I guess. But that blows. You don't want to have to do that. So yeah, it sucks that they're so floppy. I hate that. Is it totally deal breaking? No, of course not. The figure's really good otherwise, but that does blow. So articulation wise, I'd probably give it an 8. Not counting the wings, I'll give it a 7 because the wings are definitely disappointing. But we do have some nice stuff in the torso, decent enough arms, and then we do have ball hinge ankles, though they need a little bit of coaxing to work properly. I think 7 is more than fair. Could be higher with just a slight bit of tweaking, but all in all, really solid release. So it's time for the final verdict. I don't know what Hasbro's doing. They are absolutely nailing these unique sculpts. First it was Lord Zed, now it's Goldar. Fabulous releases. Perfect? No, definitely not. Far more than they mostly do. Really, really nice stuff. However, they seem to be not doing a great job on these basic releases. We'll get to this in a separate review, but if you've seen anything on the internet, you know they dropped the ball big time on this guy. So like I said, I don't know what they're doing. They're doing really well on the hard stuff, and on the easy stuff, they're just totally not. So it's weird, but this guy's one of the hard ones, and they did a good job. This guy gets an overall 8 out of 10. Very strong release. Definitely could use some improvements. He's still a little bit gummy in general, but the wings are really the only issue. Even with the molded plastic, he looks really good. I don't know why people are complaining about that. I don't get it. Like, you don't even get fully painted figures from Bandai Japan, or any of them. They're never fully painted. I don't get it. Like, those figures cost 5 times as much as these and they're not fully painted. You expect Hasbro to paint a thing that's got 100% new sculpt? That's not gonna happen, not at $22. You're dreaming. It'd be nice, but you're dreaming. I'd like to customize one of these, but with all those damn beast heads, I'm not customizing anything. Anyway, okay, there you go. You saw the final verdict, and you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. But if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos up just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.